Hello, fellow hunters, and happy Dream Spell Festival. If you're like me, you're probably less focused on the festival right now and still focused on beating Omega Savage because this fight is pretty freaking hard, and that's probably why you clicked on this video today. So, I'm gonna go ahead and get straight into it because I know that a lot of people are struggling out there right now, and I know that it's not just me, and I finally just recently got my first clear on Omega Savage. And I know a lot of people are wondering, how the heck do I actually do it? And the answer is a little bit different from what I was expecting. You see, the thing is I'm used to playing certain weapons. Like, for example, I play the Switch Axe a lot, and I play a lot of the longsword, and then I play quite a bit of the greatsword. But I had to completely switch my entire loadout and setup and weapon that I'm comfortable with in order to do this in a way that made sense, because I kept timing out on the fight over and over and over again, and the issue wasn't survivability, it was DPS. So let's go ahead and get into this, and I'll show you exactly how I did it. And also, I will leave a link below where you guys can see the full fight and actually how I did it and like what methods I was using, but I'll try and cover some of that in detail in this video. Alright, well, let's go ahead and get to it. So first and foremost, let's go ahead and take a look at the build that I actually wound up using. And please, before you just look at this build and decide to skip forward and run it, listen to some of the things I have to say about how it works, because it's vital and crucial for actually being able to complete this. Now, this isn't going to necessarily be an end-all, be-all for you, guaranteed that you're going to win. This is just what works for me, and I'm hoping that it's going to help some other people be able to get a clear on this. So, taking a look at it and getting started, the main weapon that you're going to be using is the Rebel Stopper, which is the Seregios Light Bowgun. There's a lot of things that go into this that make it a really good weapon, and why I actually chose to use it for this build. And I'll go ahead and explain why. So the Rebel Stopper has a very unique ability to it that makes it so that you automatically reload one ammo every time you dodge. And that is crucial for this build in making sure that you can do constant, consistent DPS to Omega. And in order to make the build as comfy as possible and keep myself alive as much as I humanly can with the outrageously overpowered attacks he throws at you, these are the armor pieces that I chose. I wound up using the Zoshia head, chest, and arms so that I could get the 2-piece set bonus and get Zoshia's super recovery, plus some of the skills that it gives are actually super useful, like elemental absorption. And then I also chose to use the Suja sash because it's an all-around good mantle in general for your waist that gives you full divine blessing, which helps a lot in this. And then I chose to use Duna's Greaves because not only are they high defense, but also you're going to be getting the full level 3 quick sheath, which is really useful for this weapon, believe it or not. And you can see the decoration setup that I have here. For the spread jewel, it's super important to be able to get as much damage as possible from your spread shots on this weapon. It's actually crucial for the entire build and being able to pump out enough DPS to kill Omega. And then there's some other quality of life things that are going to be important to the build, like evade window, just a little bit. Evade extender level 2 is almost a must for this fight. Having part breaker at level 2 also is almost completely necessary for breaking his legs, because that's the only way that you can get knockdowns is when you get 2 breaks on the same leg, which can knock him down, which is super nice. And during my fight, I actually wound up knocking him down twice, which gave me some pretty big windows to deal free damage. But aside from that, some medicine jewels so that you get your recovery up and things like that. And then also your precise jewels are going to be needing to get slotted in so that you can get some range while you're fighting him. That way you don't have to be on top of him the entire time you're shooting him, and it gives you a lot more margin for error to be able to avoid his attacks and survive. And then obviously we're going to be looking at some fire resistance jewels, because almost everything he does is mad fire damage, bro. And then the last thing that I'm actually going to recommend for this fight, equipment-wise, is to bring your evasion mantle. And it's going to be crucial that you save this for the last section of the fight when he goes into Pancator mode, because he starts getting absolutely buck wild, and that's where most people get the most of their carts and wind up failing the quest. But if you have the evasion mantle, it gives you a much bigger window of opportunity to dodge a lot of his attacks and get those perfect dodges. And perfect dodges, while you have the Rebel Stomper equipped, give you blade scale loading and an additional 3 ammo added in on top of your normal base 3 ammo that you can just use willy-nilly. And as a little side note, for those of you who are trying to get as many parts as fast as possible, I would recommend taking the colorful Suja cuisine, because it has exploiter meal on it, and that actually gives you additional rewards from part breaks, which is going to get you a lot more Omega pieces while you're fighting him, just doing the fight. Alternatively, you can also get one that has carver meal, and that can be helpful as well to give you a couple extra carves after you do wind up defeating him. And without further ado, let's look at these fight mechanics here. So like any challenging hunt, you're definitely going to want to use any buffs that you have, any, armor skin. Mega Demon Drug can help if you have enough of it. But to kind of start off with the fight, you'll see what my method is here. So you'll see that I used my special ammo to put a dot on his head to make it so that anybody who's tanking is going to deal extra damage when they're hitting him in the face. And then you can see here that I'm kind of just dodging out of the way, utilizing that evade window, and then you just kind of want to get up in his face and blast off those spread shots while you're in rapid fire mode. And you do kind of want to focus in on his front legs. You'll see multiple times throughout the fight that I am actually going ahead and shooting down the rocket fists to make sure that both me and my team are not getting punished by them. Since they only require 1 HP to destroy them, it's super easy to do. But with the range that I have on this gun, you can see even with his ice attacks, I'm completely out of range and still able to hit him. But essentially, a lot of the fight you're going to spend doing this, which is pop, pop, dodge, pop, pop, dodge, and you'll see that it just keeps reloading over and over again. And I have pretty big windows where I can deal lots of damage with that spread ammo, and if you can get yourself a shield to hide inside of, it makes it even easier to be able to pull this off. And before you know it, you'll have a clear on Savage. You just need to keep at it and make sure that he doesn't hit you with as many attacks as possible, but this will give you the DPS that's required to be able to finish this fight with support hunters, and that's how I've been doing it, to make sure that you don't time out on him and all that hard work and effort gets put to good use. But yeah, that's pretty much it for my tips and tricks. I really hope that this was able to help you guys get an idea of maybe an easier way to be able to beat Savage and just get you through this fight so you can get those parts and get those cool armor sets, because I know I was struggling with it a lot. And if you guys do have any questions about the build, or maybe I just left this video a little too simple and I left some things unexplained, definitely feel free to drop me a comment, ask some questions. I am more than willing to chat with you guys about it, especially with how passionate I've been about beating this and finally getting my clear, and it looks like I can pretty consistently do it now. But yeah, I think that's going to be all for today. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the video. Definitely make sure to drop us a like, leave a subscribe. It really helps us, make new videos and get me to roll out of bed and actually make some new content. But I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and peace out.